As Arsenal announced a brand new arrival, for the fans there's only one question on their minds. What is happening with Viktor Gyökeres? After reports that Arsenal had advanced in the deal, today we'll break down what exactly is happening with the transfer. We'll also break down Arsenal's potentially surprising offer for Eberechi Eze, as well as revealing Arsenal's leaked photo of their brand new signing. We'll also break down when Noni Madueke to Arsenal might not be happening. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Baz14, welcome back to your boys channel and I hope you guys are doing sensational. After the Viktor Gyökeres bomber, today we've got a bit of a surprising update. So as per my friend, smash a like on this video if you do enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new, helping your boy on his road to 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with Arsenal's defensive move. After the surprise exit of Takehiro Tomiyasu, a player that made only one appearance last season, with Arsenal confirming the official contract termination. Now according to the Gunner blog, Arsenal began the conversations with Tomiyasu over a potential termination earlier this summer. Eventually both parties found an agreement. Tomiyasu is currently rehabbing in Tokyo with the Japanese FA and hopes to be fit by October. Arsenal saw a termination as a mutually beneficial arrangement, one that would grant Tomiyasu the liberty to pursue his rehab as he saw fit, while freeing up space in the squad for a new signing who would be ready to contribute on the field. It is a bit of a sad story when you think about it. What was meant to be Arsenal's Swiss Army knife, robbed of a key role in the Arsenal first team, unfortunately because he could not stay fit. But in a game where things are always evolving and teams are always moving forwards, Arsenal have identified a potential replacement, Christian Mosquera of Valencia, after making a first offer that was rejected. Despite Arsenal having an agreement with the player, now according to reports in Spain, Arsenal are preparing their final offer to close the deal for Mosquera. How much will that offer be and will it be at 20 million euros? Valencia of course have made it very clear to Arsenal, this is the price that we're looking for. With the fact the player is in his final year of his contract, having already made it clear to his club, Arsenal is where he wants to go to. Andrea Berta has negotiated this deal very well, giving Arsenal a clear upper hand, because not only do we have the player's desire, but at one point Valencia's hands will also be forced. In the case of Mosquera, it is a deal that I expect we could see some major movement in come the end of this week. And then it becomes the question of will he be a part of Arsenal's pre-season, with Arsenal going to Singapore and Hong Kong, and this is set to be our official away kit, leaked for the 2025-26 season. It's different to last year's kit, and there's quite a few fans that love it. And after Arsenal announced their brand new arrival, the official appointment of Gabriel Heinze to join Mikel Arteta as men's first team coaching staff, we have now added our fourth Gabriel to the team, on top of Magalhaes, Martinelli and Jesus, for a man that is a long-term fan of Mikel Arteta. The Arsenal players are also about to return, with the likes of Miles Lewis-Skelly spotted at Wimbledon. You've also got the Bible Bros and Timber and Saka also enjoying their time at Wimbledon. The players are back in the UK and training is about to start, which will also include a certain Martin Zubimendi. After going all the way back to Real Sociedad to bid farewell to all his teammates, he's also posted a photo on Instagram, officially signing his Arsenal contract, with a caption "New Chapter and New Hope," with also releasing a fantastic video of his first day behind the scenes. From being welcomed by Arsenal women's centre-back Laia Kadina, to also a letter from former teammate Mikel Merino, who said, "Welcome to the Gunners family bro, it's the ideal place for the next stage of your career, and I hope we can win more titles together, like we've been lucky to do so far." You've also got a message from the Arsenal captain, sending a video saying, "Zubi, welcome to the Arsenal, we're really happy that you're now a part of the family, we can't wait to see you, play with you and drive this club forwards." With Zubimendi officially an Arsenal player, another midfielder is also very soon on his way. We of course are talking about Brentford's Christian Norgard, having got a here we go of a 10 million euro deal. Now according to David Ornstein, Arsenal have completed the signing of Christian Norgard, as Arsenal will pay £10 million guaranteed and potentially up to £2 million in add-ons. The player has undertaken a medical and his arrival is expected to be announced by the end of the week, followed by a bit of Arsenal fan FBI work, as one fan was sent a photo where you can clearly see Norgard arriving at the Arsenal training centre, with Norgard set to become Arsenal's third official signing of the summer. The question then becomes who is next? Could it be a brand new wide forward? And will it be Chelsea's Noni Madueke? As reported by Fabrizio Romano, Madueke is understood to be interested in Arsenal's vision and projects. While Mikel Arteta has approved his signing, the player has agreed a 5-year contract, and he will maintain the same salary structure as he has now at Chelsea if a deal was to happen, which of course would put him on just over £100,000 a week, wages that Arsenal could definitely offer for a player who is still 23 years of age. But ultimately speaking, Arsenal are definitely not going to overpay, and that's the key part about this deal. By agreeing personal terms with the player, it was simply to get an upper hand in negotiations, with Arsenal reportedly preparing their first official offer, as Fabrizio Romano has already confirmed there is a bit of a difference, and now according to more reports, Chelsea will want more than £50 million for Arsenal to sign Noni Madueke. They believe the current market justifies such a figure, given West Ham's valuation of Mohamed Kudus, and Forest having agreed a deal worth £52 million for Anthony Elanga with Newcastle. That is a fee that Arsenal are going to go nowhere near, fingers crossed, because ultimately speaking, Madueke is not coming to Arsenal to become a guaranteed starter. This is far more of a safety signing to finally give Bukayo Saka support, Having seen last year him get that massive hamstring injury, the high load of minutes definitely played a part. In Madueke, Arsenal would have that cover, but if the idea is for him to play on the left-hand side, that is not something that I'm really a fan of. So talking about brand new left forwards, let's talk about Newcastle's Anthony Gordon, who according to team news and ticks, Gordon's camp has revealed that his agent was at the Arsenal training centre last week. While he shares the same age as Ethan Nwaneri, it is a player that Arsenal love, and it would be strange for the wingers camp to be aware. Anthony Gordon of course is a very intriguing player. Having gone to Newcastle from Everton, had a very decent season last year. He's not got the same level of excitement as a Rodrigo, but if Arsenal are going for safety and the goal is to win next season, signing players that have played in the Premier League at a high level, it is certainly a standout feature. And in the case of Newcastle having just signed Anthony Elanga for a fee of £52 million, I'm not sure if they need to sell the player, but with Arsenal's interest now being confirmed by multiple different sources, the pursuit of Anthony Gordon may be one to keep an eye on. But what about the future of Gabriel Martinelli? After reports come out of Saudi Arabia claiming an offer of £73 million was on its way, now according to Fabrizio Romano, the reports about Gabriel Martinelli and Al Nassr are currently wide of the mark. No talks have taken place with Saudi Pro League side yet, as Al Nassr are now working on different targets at the winger position. From the likes of Luis Diaz and other wide forwards, Martinelli is not seen as an Al Nassr priority, but as the window progresses and things start to develop, I do expect that a team will make an offer, and then it all falls down to Arsenal. With reports confirming that Arsenal are open of letting a first team player leave, the left wing is definitely an area of focus. Whether it's Gabriel Martinelli or Leandro Trossard, teams are starting to have a lot of interest. So in the case of Arsenal's Belgian wide forward, according to Sacha Tavaleri, Trossard could leave Arsenal this summer. Despite the initial discussions over a new contract, the player is happy at Arsenal, but the arrival of Andrea Berta, with new ideas could change his future. Arsenal would consider bids for around €20 million. If Arsenal can sign a Madueke and maybe even Rodrigo, there will definitely be a wide forward departure. Despite Trossard being a versatile profile, if you then go for Rodrigo, who can also play down the middle, if reports are to be believed that teams in Turkey do have interest, the future of Trossard is definitely being questioned. But what about the returning Fabio Vieira? After a long year back on loan at Porto, becoming a first-team starter and playing in multiple different positions, then going to the FIFA Club World Cup. Now according to the Gunner blog, Fabio Vieira is likely to report to Arsenal for pre-season, but the Gunners will be willing to listen to offers for the midfielder, with the report also claiming the same applies for players like Zinchenko and Reece Nelson. Those two players I can understand leaving, but in the case of Fabio Vieira, it's always been intriguing. We know about the potential, we know about that final ball, but with all the reports claiming that Arsenal are going to make a move for Eze, when you've already got Martin Odegaard and Ethan Nwaneri, where would the space be for Fabio Vieira, who for me is a far different profile to Martin Odegaard, being more of a final action player than an all-phase midfielder? You then add in the profile of Eze, who is far more of a dribbler, and it seems like Arsenal are finally willing to pull the plug for a player they once invested £35 million on. Fabio Vieira's Arsenal future could be about to come to an end. But moving on to the Gyökeres update, after getting a striker bomber in the last video where Arsenal finally made their move, advancing for Gyökeres after the Šeško deal stall. In the case of the RB Leipzig striker, we've actually got a very intriguing report from the hand of Arsenal, an exclusive confirming that Al Hilal are now intending to launch another audacious attempt to sign Benjamin Šeško, taking advantage of Arsenal's focus on resolving the final details of Viktor Gyökeres. It remains to be seen whether the player could be convinced this time, as it is believed that his preference will be to continue his career in Europe. But in the case of Arsenal, it does feel like they're moving on, with even the Gunner block confirming sources on the German side of the Mutter deal for Benjamin Šeško indicate there was still room for further negotiations over both the fee and Šeško's salary, but it was clearly not enough to convince Arsenal, who seem to have decided to advance with Viktor Gyökeres. And to me, it all comes down to the player's personal desire. Well, in the case of Šeško, he's never been forceful. His agent come out and telling the entire world they will not force Leipzig's hands. You then look at Viktor Gyökeres and you see a player who's doing every single thing possible to get himself to the Emirates Stadium. From reports confirming that he's separated from his girlfriend to focus on a move to Arsenal, the Swedish striker no longer wants anything to do with Portugal. He is determined to join the Gunners. We then had Fabrizio Romano reporting Viktor Gyökeres has personally sent private messages to the Sporting presidents asking him to let him move to Arsenal. So after it was confirmed by Sami Mokbel that Andrea Berta flew to Lisbon towards the end of the last week for face-to-face discussions with Sporting over a deal for Gyökeres, it could be around £70 million. This deal has advanced very fast and Arsenal are closing into it. Now according to the reliable Sam C, Arsenal are on the verge of completing a deal for Viktor Gyökeres, with the transfer expected to be worth more than £65 million, barring any late complications. Gyökeres is expected to become an Arsenal player within the next few days, with the player already agreeing a 5-year contract with Arsenal. The only thing left to sort out is the final details. And according to Fabrizio, there was new contact last night between Arsenal and Sporting to try to accelerate and close the deal for Viktor Gyökeres to Arsenal, but Sporting are still not accepting the final details of the proposal. It doesn't mean that it's over, it's just a part of negotiations. With even Simon Collins reporting, Gyökeres is due to report for pre-season training this Friday, but Sporting hope a deal with Arsenal. I've seen a lot of talk and I've seen a little bit of controversy. For a player that a lot of fans are very excited about, there is also a very vocal minority that are questioning if Gyökeres is the perfect profile. But for me, it all comes down to overthinking. Even though the profile of Šeško on paper suited what Arsenal wanted more. If the goal next year is to get over the line and win now, signing a player who's 27 years of age, has just scored an insane amount of goals, as reported here more than 20 more than any other player in Portugal last season, it all comes down to the player's mentality. Where Šeško had a lot of stand-up fundamentals, Gyökeres at times isn't as effective. By no means a player that thrives in the air, but ultimately speaking he's coming with a mindset that he wants to come to Arsenal and get us over the line. With even Fabrizio Romano reporting, Gyökeres is expected to give up at least €2 million of his salary in order to facilitate negotiations between Arsenal and Sporting. Gyökeres is trying his best to also give up money to make the deal happen. That is the player I want to Arsenal. A guy that has a mindset that he wants to come in and become a starter straight away. Going all the way back to 2024, there were some reports about Benjamin Šeško that claimed that he wasn't sure if he could take over from Kai Havertz. That's where Gyökeres is different. He's not coming to Arsenal to just play a part. He's coming with the mindset of becoming the main man, with both the number 10 and 14 shirts available. If and when a deal gets over the line, I guarantee he will take a massive number. The best way to describe the player in one single word, for me, would be relentless. Gyökeres is a profile that will make mistakes. He will miss chances, but ultimately speaking, he will keep on trying. Even in games that he fails 80% of the time, he's still able to eventually break through and find decisive moments. You then think about all the players that Arsenal will be linked to this summer. The key targets that Mikel Arteta is looking to add, what stands out straight away, is the fact they all love to shoot the ball. From Gyökeres taking 4 shots per game, Eze 3.4, and even Madueke at 3.5. And an Arsenal team that we know at times can be slow, adverse to taking risks because they don't want to give the ball away. It seems like Mikel Arteta is now trying to make a change. Sign players that are not scared to shoot, because ultimately speaking, goals win you games. And teams that score the most in the Premier League most often win the title. So let's talk about the pursuit of Eberechi Eze. According to Miguel Delaney, Arsenal are working on a bid that could allow them to sign the player without a substantial sale this summer. Arsenal are aiming on a structure that will amount to 3 installments of £20 million, and there is a hope that a suitable deal can be worked out. With many reports already claiming that Eze wants to come to Arsenal, a former player of Hill End, whose dream was to play at the Emirates Stadium, this is not a case of an issue of personal terms. It's more about what deal do Arsenal want to do, with a report release clause of £68 million for a player who's Premier League proven and 27 years of age. To me, it sounds like a decent deal. According to reports, Arsenal could also be very creative, with this report claiming Andrea Berta is determined to sign Eze and will try to convince Crystal Palace, who might consider accepting a promising defender as a part of the deal. While the player being considered as a make-weight in this deal is not known, Sun Sports understands he's an emerging star who has played a handful of games for the first team, which then got Arsenal fans wondering who is that player going to be. Promising youngness played for the first team, followed by more reports that came out, claiming that Josh Nichols is the Arsenal player, being considered as a make-weight in the deal for Eberechi Eze. Having made his senior debut last year in the Carabao Cup, while also being a part of Arsenal's preseason tour, at 18 years of age and mainly a right back, when you've got Ben White and Yorin Timber in front of you, a place in the Arsenal first team was never going to be easy. So after making 17 appearances last season for the Arsenal under-23s, it seems like his Arsenal future is in doubt. If Palace are willing to accept, ultimately reducing Eze's price tag, this could be an Andrea Berta masterclass. But then you've got the future of Arsenal star boy Ethan Nwaneri, a youngster that many Arsenal fans are determined to make sure he stays at the Emirates Stadium. So after a long year with the first team, then go into the under-21 Euros, he was the player alongside a young Arsenal fan who kept on asking if Eze was coming to Arsenal, but with Ethan giving away nothing. In terms of his Arsenal future, according to reliable reports, Arsenal are confident that Nwaneri will sign a long-term deal in the coming days, with talks regarding a renewal heading in a positive direction. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of the social medias, and the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal transfer news today, as Arsenal closed into the deal for Viktor Gyökeres. We are waiting for that here we go, and once it arrives, your boy will be here to break it all down as per. So my friends, I'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves and elevate.